Hey everyone, how's it
Hello.
going? This is Roomies Review the Movies. I am Lindsay. This is Maria. We are old college roommates. I graduated with a degree in film, and Maria has been a film reviewer for the past 20 years. And
Yes.
today we are reviewing 1992's Just Another Girl on the IRT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I remember this movie back in the 90s, but I was too young to watch it. And I actually didn't watch it when I was a kid. I watched it as a teenager, I believe, because I ended up getting the DVD. So
Mm.
yeah. But I always remembered like the TV spots and whatnot, because it just seemed like they were just like really cool teenagers and whatnot. It just seemed real cool. What the movie actually was about, I had no clue. Like, they just looked real cool. So yeah, this is a independent film, so it has a bunch of people in it that we probably did not know or have never seen since. One of them is the lead character. Her name is Ariane A. Johnson, and the lead character name is Chantel.
Hmm.
Then we also have Kevin Thigpen as Tyrone, and Ebony Jarito as Natet. So yeah, so this movie is taking place in the early '90s in New York and
In Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn, right? More specifically in Brooklyn. And it's just pretty much like a coming of age story. We have Chantel, who is a high school teenager, and she's just going through the typical things that a teenager goes through. Initially, she has a job. Both of her parents are at home, which they do point out is not something that's normal. Uh, but her parents, are living paycheck to paycheck. She has two little brothers that she does help out with a lot as well, and
Hmm.
it's a stressful household because the parents are strapped for cash. So
Hmm.
she
The parents are strapped for cash. They're arguing
right,
loudly. There's a lot of yelling in this movie.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
but
uh,
New Yorkers are very aggressive when they talk. So
yeah. My only thing about that was like it seemed to be like just the thing to do when you're showing emotionality, right?
hmm,
And there are different ways to do that, but they just always went straight to yelling, which to
yeah,
me is just like kind of speaks to like this is a lot of the people's first time and stuff, so
hmm, yeah,
but yeah, they're yelling about bills and stuff like that. And, I
hmm,
mean, even though they're both at home, it's not necessarily peaceful.
right, right. Sometimes that's not always the
Yeah.
best thing to have both your parents at home. so so yeah, she wants to help out, but her mama is refusing to help and whatnot. Because she just pretty much wants her to focus on being in school.
Yeah, they
And
already parentify her enough,
right,
she's the expected childcare for their other children.
right, and that's enough. But then, financially, that's, I guess that's where she draws the line with the
Right.
help. So Chantel does have ambitions. For one, she doesn't want to be like her parents. She wants to be the opposite. She wants to go to college. She wants to have a career. You know,
She
do
wants to
things
go to medical school, she wants to be her own boss.
right,
She
right,
wants to most importantly get out the hood.
right. First and foremost, get out of the hood. So she does have these ambitions, but also she's a teenage girl. So she wants to hang out with her friends and whatnot. And let's just be real. She wants to be a bit self-centered, which
Yeah.
that's a typical teenage trait.
Yeah.
So
Especially when she doesn't really get that much of a chance to be at home. So
right, Right.
and hope.
Right. So, her and the Ted, they are anticipating on going to a party, and they run into a friend of theirs that is on the train, and they're talking to her and whatnot. The friend has a baby, so they haven't really seen her since she had the baby and whatnot. And she's talking about how life has changed for her since she had this baby, and they convince her to go to the party and whatnot, and she reluctantly says she's gonna go.
Mm.
But when the tech wants to talk about this interaction, Chantel is just basically like, I don't have time for all that. I need to focus on getting this outfit and what I'm gonna wear for the party and blah
Mm.
blah blah. And the tech calls out her selfishness, you
Mm.
know. So
Yeah, because Natet's like, you don't care about anything else, like,
right, like
and
nothing
she's
else.
like, no, which I get at her focus, but but the whole thing with like her personality here is like she's confident, she's bright, she's outspoken, she does too much, right? But
Mm-hmm.
again, she is a teen, um, but she's also thinks less of everybody around her because this is the place she's trying to escape.
Right.
So for her, it's like that'll never be me. So why am I concerned?
Mm-hmm. Right. That's beneath me. I got other things to focus on, which, you know, um, I can't get mad at her for being focused, but in the same breath, you don't have to be rude about it. So,
Right. Be a little bit more empathetic.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it
But,
can be. It's also that whole like teenage thing where it's very focused on your world and
mhm,
like who that kind of thing. So
right, right. Teenagers are very self centered,
yeah.
which it is what it is. It's par for the course, I guess.
I mean, honestly, be a little self centered at that time. You're trying to figure out
Yeah,
who you are apart from your family and friends and what you want to do and things like that. You should be self centered right now,
right,
but you should also be able to be empathetic in your language at least, like,
right, right. Just
especially
that.
for someone you consider a friend.
Right, exactly. And just a bit like and be empathetic with what her situation is,
Yeah, just a little
which
bit more caring. Yeah,
right, which Natet was doing, and Chantel was just like, yeah, no, I'm cool. So yeah, so they end up going to this party. Chantel does have a little fella friend, and it ain't nothing that she,
Gerard.
yeah,
Yeah,
Gerard, it ain't nothing that she's really too much tripping off of. He's tripping off of her more than she's tripping off of
yeah.
him, and
He really wants to be her man. Okay, he wants to
right,
be her
he
man.
wants to be her man.
But she's very much like, I don't want to be tied down to anybody. I just kind of
Hmm.
want to have a good time. Like,
Right, right. So, they're at this party and whatnot, and she's having a good time. She's dancing with other folks. They have this whole little sequence where her and one of her friends breaking out into a house party dance scene.
yes, they had a routine and everything.
Hmm.
Like, she's
I
the
thought that
life
was
of the
super cute.
party. She loves being there.
Right, right.
People are
So
Chantel, Chantel.
right, right. And she was like, "Give me some room, give me some
Give me some
room,
room,
give me
back
some
up, give me
room."
space.
Right.
Let me hit this 8 count.
Okay. So I always thought that was super cute. So
And I really
yeah.
love like her outfit in the first scene, like the green shirt with the black suspenders thing and the hat. Like it's oh my
Hmm.
god,
Yeah.
1992 perfection. Like
Yes. Yes. So and it's not somebody like playing, it's like authentic, you know what I mean?
yes,
And it's just so cool. So yeah, they're at this party, and they hanging out, having a good time and whatnot. And she ends up getting into it with Gerard because Gerard is not feeling the fact that she is having so much of a good time and she's dancing with other guys and stuff like that.
yeah,
So
because she came to the party with him.
yeah.
He thinks they're together. He really does, and
Hmm.
they're not, as far as
No.
she's concerned.
As far as anybody's concerned. to be honest. Like, yeah,
Truly, truly.
he's the only one that's not catching on to the fact that
Yeah.
she's just not into you, dude. Like,
No.
so
And he seems to be an okay dude from what we can see. We don't really see too much of
yeah,
him.
yeah, we
We do have that one scene where they're in the washroom, or it looks like they're in a laundromat making out.
yeah,
I
that was
was like,
weird.
okay, it's an odd
That was
spot,
very
but
weird.
like
Yeah,
he does say, like, he's, of course, he's like, oh girl, I'm so turned on, I'm so hard, whatever you need, blah blah blah. And she's like, I'm not doing all that,
right,
whatever. Does say, well, I even brought protection, whatever. Well, of course, like the term of the time was Jimmy, right? So
right,
I
right,
got a, I brought a Jimmy with me and everything. She's like, you can keep your Jimmy. I'm not doing all that.
right, right. And she stuck to her gun. She did not do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she's not feeling him for real. He gets all mad and shit like that, and tells her that she can find her own way home, and like he had a car in the first place, but whatevs.
He didn't
So
have a car. He's like, I
right,
have tokens.
right, right. So at the party, she's sitting down minding her own business, and this guy starts talking to her, and it ended up being this guy named Ty. Now, when I first watched this movie, I thought this guy was like hella older than her, and
I can understand why you would think that.
yeah, yeah. So, but watching it again this morning, I'm like, I think this is maybe bad casting because he's in high school too.
Yeah, he's in high school too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the same high school together. Like, because
Hmm.
like we find out later, Ty has a class with one of her friends.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just that I think everybody but like the main girls are much older than they're supposed to. you know, because that's
Yeah.
just 35-year-olds playing teenagers as Hollywood. So
Right, right, right. But I was just like the
mhm.
look of them together. It looks like this was an older guy, and then on top of that,
The
uh,
look, the way he was moving and everything.
mhm. And then
I
they got to
thought that
bring
at
the
first.
Jeep. Yeah, and
But
then they got
right,
to
like
bring
how do you
the
do that?
right. So I just thought he was like one of the little drug dealer dudes around the way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That he done got himself a little high school girl.
20,
That's
25-year-old messing around with high school girls.
right. That's what I thought it was, but it's not that. They never explain how he got this Jeep at all. Because then I
No,
was
I
later
think
thinking
it's just
like it
supposed to be a
was mom.
signifier of like his family being much more, better off than hers.
Yeah.
Because I at one point we see he like lives in a brownstone and it's just him and his mom.
Hmm.
Which means she has to be doing pretty well now. I don't know how well she's doing to afford a new Jeep for her teenage son, but
Right.
like,
Right. And
yeah,
then on top of that, his dad left.
right.
So yeah.
And
Yeah.
he uses that guilt to get what he wants from his mom.
Hmm. Right.
Whew.
So yeah, so there's a lot going on right there. But
Yeah, teenagers make a pay for it, boy.
man, man. So so yeah, this all comes out, in this conversation when he's trying to talk to her that he got this Jeep or whatnot, because she was being her, and it was just like, talking to him but kind of playing him to the left till she was like, do you got a car? And he was like, yeah, I got a 1993 Jeep.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
he was in the house
yeah,
then.
and like you were saying, he was like very like aggressive, like
Hmm.
trying to like paw at her, basically grope her and all this stuff,
Yeah, all
pull
that.
her onto his lap and all this whatever. And
Hmm.
to me, it was very much like I don't like the things he was doing. I was like, oh no, 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 I don't like him
Yeah, yeah,
because we don't know each other, and you're already this handsy.
yeah, yeah. It is a bit uncomfortable, and now we can say it in 2024. But being in those situations back then, it was like something that you couldn't really say. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
just had to kind of like play somebody to the left, but you're really
Right,
uncomfortable in this
right,
situation. So
right.
Um,
Like just play, ah, ha, ha, yeah, that's so
right, like,
funny.
yeah, we're gonna keep our hands to ourselves. Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
laugh my way out of this one. Yeah, yeah.
right. so, so yeah, they started dating and whatnot, and when there was one scene where Gerard came to talk to her after school, and she, because he was just like, where you been? You kind of been playing me. Like, what's going on? Why are you looking extra fly today? And all this kind of stuff. And she was just like,
Right.
I just been, keeping to myself, this, that, and the third. When in all actuality, she's
You know,
been
I
dating.
got all this going on and I've been doing these tests and blah blah blah.
Hmm. But in all actuality, she was dating Ty and whatnot, and Ty came and picked her up. And, she was lying to her parents saying that she was going to be spending the night at her friend's house, but in all actuality, she's staying with him, and he's taking her
Hmm.
out to nice restaurants and doing all these things that she hasn't had before.
I would love
And,
to like actually, because we see them in the restaurant, but I would love to actually like know about the restaurant because she says, "Oh, this ain't Mickey D's or whatever." Because it's like I guess she's been going out with, you know, her other dude Gerard to Mickey D's,
mm,
whatever. And so now she's at a sit down restaurant. I'm like, what is the quality of the sit down restaurant though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
are you
Yeah.
being impressed by Olive Garden? I'm just curious.
So is it a Chili's, Red Lobster?
Are we 2 for 10 right now? What's happening?
Okay, right. But hey, and
Teenage, oh, this is
you
new and
know,
this is nice.
right. Oh, he
Yeah.
took me here, he took me there,
Mm.
and we
What's a
thought
red
all that shit was cute,
lobster?
right? We thought all
They
that
have the
shit was
never
cute,
ending shrimp.
right. It was unlimited. I got
Mm.
whatever I wanted, so
Hmm.
we thought that stuff was cute back then. So I'm
Yeah.
not mad at her for being
No,
impressed. So
no.
um yeah, so they are hot and heavy, and yeah, it turns into a sexual relationship. And when it turns into a sexual relationship, of course, they're not handling things like an adult should. For one, it's
There doesn't seem like
unprotected.
they're getting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, for one, it's unprotected sex, and for two, you really have to take your birth control the way that it should be taken. And they don't know that. And they feel like doubling up on birth control will be a surefire way of not getting pregnant. So
That is not how this works.
it's not how any of this works.
Not any- not at all. And
No.
it's the three girls. Like we have Nanette. I don't know. I guess the other girl's Paula. We don't see
Mhm.
too much of Paula actually,
No.
but like they're talking about all these preventative methods, right? About not getting pregnant. And most of the time you can tell they're like joking about them, like the whole like shooting soda up yourself to like all that stuff. And like this is stuff I heard too. Um, but I thankfully I heard it in education, in the context of education. So
Okay.
it was like, this is what you don't do, right?
Right,
People will
right.
say these things, but these things do not work. And so they're
Mhm.
laughing about it that way, but it also doesn't seem like they have education as to what actually would work, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, they're talking about doubling up on birth control pills. That's not how that works.
No, that's not how that works at all. But when you put it in the context of the early 90s, sex education was kind of taboo.
Very taboo,
You
especially
know,
if the major message wasn't abstinence only or
right.
abstinence is the major form. Like for me, of course, I grew up in Georgia, Atlanta, right? And so 1992, what? I was 8 going on 9. We had our first like sex education thing in middle school.
Hmm.
I think I was like in 8th grade. So this was years after this.
Yeah.
But it was majorly like abstinence is what you want. It's
Yeah.
definitely what you want. Now here's other things you can do, but abstinence is what you want. Yeah.
Right.
And if you're gay or trans or if you're asexual, we're not talking to you at all. So sorry.
No, no, that doesn't get a conversation. I'll act like it doesn't exist.
That does exist.
Yeah, I grew up in Missouri, so that was pretty much the same way. You know, on top of not getting the education at home, um, we didn't get taught sex ed until probably like 7th grade, and we got taught uh, parts and what they do at that point. But as far as like sex and what to do and all that kind of stuff, like you had to take a class in high school to learn stuff like that, and it wasn't like a class that was mandatory. You know what I'm saying? So it, yeah, yeah, they definitely shied away from that stuff, and then wonder why it's a lot of teen pregnancies at the school.
Right.
Yeah,
And like I don't recall them teaching us about necessarily about like consent or
no, they didn't go down that road at all.
right, or being oh gosh, I can't remember the word, but like basically being coerced. They didn't talk anything about coercion or anything like that. It was definitely heterosexual all the way. That's all we're talking about, you know. And then also, like you said, it wasn't mandatory. So they sent home those permission slips that your parents would have to sign to say that you could participate in this class.
Right.
Which thankfully my parents signed, but also there was the time in high school when I would come home every day after school and take a nap. Because I was tired. Because I was getting up at like 6 something in the morning and doing all this work, and I was tired.
School is stressful.
Right. And I also had like 6 extracurricular activities. I was tired. And so after a while, I remember this so clearly. I don't know if I'll ever forget it. So I was just like brushing my teeth, whatever. And my mom burst in and was like, "Are you pregnant?" I said, "What?" She was like, you just keep taking naps all the time every day after school. I said, "I'm just tired."
Dang, you can't even be tired.
Well, one of the symptoms of being pregnant is that you're very tired.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, it would be the immaculate conception. I promise you, I am just tired.
Yeah. No, I don't have any stories like that.
Oh, well, there was another time.
Yeah.
She broke into my room with a banana and was like, "This is how you put on a condom."
Oh wow.
Yeah. But
Well,
at least I
he
had
was
that,
trying.
right?
Yeah, at least he
Right.
was trying. I tell you, I had one conversation when I was in elementary school with my mom. She came into our room and she was like, "Do y'all know where babies come from?" He was like, "Yeah." "Do y'all know about AIDS?" It's like, "Yeah." She said, "Okay," and walked out. And yeah, still to this day, I am waiting for my birds and the bees combo. So yeah. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, so like I said, like I've I've said before, like the majority of the stuff that I was taught outside of the very minimum interactions at school was through TV. Like I learned a lot of stuff through TV, So my mama didn't go down that road with us.
We watched a very scientific video about like how sex and pregnancy works, but I mean like very scientific.
Yeah, I had a child development class in high school, and like you said, we had to get consent for that, and my mom did give me consent, but we one of the things that we watched was the birth of a kid. If that don't sew your knees shut, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't have no pregnancies out of that class.
Yeah. So I can't
Then I
imagine
had
like the
I had to
lack of
wear one.
education they may be getting in this movie.
Right, right, exactly. And then
You had to wear what?
I had to wear one of those bellies.
You did?
Yeah, yeah, because we did have this one lady come to our child development class that talked about teen pregnancy, and
Oh.
she had on one of those bellies, and it's a whole frontal, so it had the extra weight for the boobs and the stomach, and then she also had these like little metal balls that was probably like about this big that she will put in to the stomach to make it heavier. So she'd be like, okay, X amount of balls is like equivalent to 5 months and stuff like that. So she had me put this on, right? And then she was because she was mainly there specifically to talk about teen pregnancy, and she was just like, this is how it feels when you going into school with carrying this every day. So she would have me like walk up and down the class or the aisle, and because we had one big aisle and we were like the chairs were facing each other, and so she was walking with me, and then she'll take a book and throw the book on the ground and be like, "Oh, you dropped your book. You got to
Pick
get
it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you dropped another book. Oh, let me put some more balls in. Now you're 8 months. Oh, you dropped another
Oh
book."
my God.
I was like, "Oh no, I won't
This
be able
is
to do
not what
this."
I want. Right?
Yeah, I ain't. No, no kids in high school. So, so
Not
yeah.
for me either.
Yeah, yeah, and at the time I had a couple of friends that were pregnant, and I was just like, this is the shit they.
No,
No,
we actually had a daycare in our high school. We had a playground for the kids who attended the daycare.
yeah. The school that
So.
my nephew goes to now has a daycare, and it had a daycare when we was in high school too. Me and my sister didn't go to that school, but yeah, they've been having a daycare for years. So, yeah,
And you should.
yeah, right. So yeah, so yeah, she ends up pregnant, basically. We say all that to say she ended up pregnant.
Yes, I'm pregnant.
So yeah, so she doesn't want to believe that she's pregnant. She took like several pregnancy tests. She also ended up going to the clinic. And she meets this lady that works at the clinic, and the lady is giving her the education, but telling her that she can't legally talk about abortion because this is a state-funded clinic.
Federally funded.
Yeah. So, which is so crazy that's what it is. Even though this is an option, we can't tell you it's an option.
Yeah. She's like, I can't even talk to you about it.
Right.
And we're talking about New York, right? It was supposed to be a liberal bastion or whatever, right?
Right.
And she can't even talk to this girl about the fact that abortion exists and that she can get one.
Right. Right. And she was far along enough to where even in 2024 she could have got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in some states.
Well, yeah, that's
Right.
true. Some states.
Thankfully, in New York is one of those states.
Right. Right. So she would have been good either way.
Right.
But
But just watching this movie now, I'm like, ooh.
Right. It's just
It's
wow.
super relevant again.
You know? Right. And it's so wild because in the 90s, even though we were kids, they looked at the 90s as being so progressive. And we still had issues like this. And it was fine. Like Roe v. Wade was years prior to the 90s. So it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Roe v. Wade would have happened in her mother's time.
Right. Right. So yeah. So she got some education or whatnot, and then she finally went on ahead and told Ty that she was pregnant, and he flipped,
Not trying
blamed
to hear
her,
it.
right? Blamed her like he wasn't present.
She got pregnant by herself.
Right. Told her, if this is a plot to get me to marry you, you can forget it. It was like, ain't nobody even thinking about that, dude.
That right, that was never her. Like
Right. Like, do you know who you talking to? So that
it's so
that whole
funny.
scene
Like
took place.
she got pregnant, right?
Hmm.
And mostly well, entirely due to the fact that he did not want to wear a Jimmy, unlike the other
Hmm.
dude, right?
Right.
Talking about he's just gonna pull out. And then also she's like, I've been doubling up on birth control. Not
Hmm.
how that works because she doesn't
No.
know. But all of a sudden, oh, you must want to be married to me.
Right.
How is this about you?
Right. Kids, self-centered ass kids. Like what?
Really, truly.
Um, it was just that. I mean, that totally came out of left field.
It really
Totally.
did.
And and it threw her off too because it was like, what the hell? Like this is
That's never
and
been her character. So the
no,
idea
no.
that you would think to say that to her is wild.
Right. She's like an underage man eater. Like so being married.
An underage stallion, a pony, if you
Right.
will.
Right. So it's like the last thing that she give a damn about is being married, especially to you. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, that was clearly not the case. But that's where he went with it, and he was pissed. And they didn't talk for a minute, and then he comes to her, and he's just like, you're gonna have to make a decision. And I told my uncle, he gave me the money, and I'm gonna give it to you since this is what you want to do. And so,
I want this uncle burned alive.
dude,
Um, because well, I mean, he says that, but he also says like, "Oh yeah, this like happens to my uncle all the time.
all the time, yeah,
If his wife found out, he would kill him." Yes,
absolutely, that would happen. Yeah,
perhaps that's what he deserves.
yeah, right. So, I guess he has his own special doctor at the clinic. I don't know, like maybe he gets discounts. I don't know.
Not
And
discounts for sending women to the clinic.
apparently, this is what he do. So maybe he has one of those value customer cards, and they just clip it every time he
Not
comes.
a value customer. He's on a loyalty program.
Right, it's a loyalty program.
He gets
It's
enough
just
punches
like
and the next is free. Oh my
right.
god.
It was crazy. It was just like your uncle does this all the time, and you know that. That's the killer part. You know that your uncle does this. Like
I mean,
we're
but
having
that's
too
how he
many
knew who to
adult
go to.
conversations. Right. It's like it's too many adult conversations in front of kids. Like,
Right,
like
right. Because how do you know this is happening so frequently, but his wife doesn't?
exactly. Right. Right. So, yeah. So yeah, he gets the money from his uncle for the abortion, and he gives it to Chantel and whatnot. Um, Chantel goes to work, and she works in a bread shop. And while she's packing or sorting or whatever she was doing, um,
She works. She works at a grocery store. She was stocking some sodas or drinks. Something.
I thought it was a bread shop. Maybe she worked
It's
in
a
a bread
grocery
store.
store
Okay.
because this white woman, was trying to buy some olive oil.
Oh, right. I forgot about that part. Yep, it is a. It must be like a Whole Foods or something like that.
So some little grocery store. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, while she's stocking, Natet comes to her. It's just like, what's going on with you? You acting all funny and stuff. And I don't understand. We used to hang out all the time. Now you don't fool with me no more. That's a problem, blah blah blah. Natet doesn't
She feels like she's done something wrong.
right.
Which is something I can really identify with.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I get it, especially because um when Chantel was taking a pregnancy test, she was taking them with Natet. So Natet knew that she was pregnant. But then um, Chantel lied to her and told her that her period came, so she's not pregnant no more. So Natet's, excuse me, Natet's thinking everything's back to normal, but clearly it's not. And so she's telling, she's going off on her because she feel like she's changing. They don't hang out no more, this and the third. And Chantel is being selfish at first, but then she changes her tune, and she's just like, I just been focusing on school and whatnot, but let's
Oh, she
go.
lies to her again.
Yeah, she lies to her. And but she's just like, let's go to the mall, let's go shopping. She was like, I ain't got no money. She was like, but I do. So she took the money that Ty gave her to go and spend it all on her and the Ted at the mall. And they bought all
Because
kinds
she
of
was supposed to go have an abortion over in Jersey. Because
right.
apparently everything is legal in Jersey. So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's the one thing that kind of puzzled me here was like, she very much doesn't want the baby, doesn't want anyone to know she's pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
going through great lengths to keep this hidden.
Yeah.
And so when he gives her the money to do this, she
She does.
doesn't.
Right. And we
I
don't
wish we
have
got a little bit more
anything.
about why she made that
Right.
decision.
Right, because we don't have any scenes about that. We only have the comment when she was at the clinic and when they was telling her about adoption, and she was just like, go through all of that and not keep my baby? Absolutely not. So it was looking like she would have went on ahead and took care of it, but she did not. You know, she went on ahead and spent the money on her and Ted at the mall. Spent it all up. It was like $500, and
Yep.
bought all kinds.
$500 in 1992, girl.
Right, right. And they bought all kinds of stuff, right? And one of the things that they
They get their
bought,
hair done, they get their nails
nails
done.
done, right? Shoes, jackets. That's one of the things that they bought was the tech got a jacket, a leather jacket or whatnot, and she wore it to school the next day. And when she wore it, somebody commented on it because they had been looking at it as well, and they knew how much it cost. And Natet ran her mouth to the girl, and the girl told the entire school that Chantel spent Ty's money. So now
Because one
Ty,
of the things to talk about Nanette is for is that she has a big mouth.
she has a big mouth, right?
So when she told her where she got that money from, I was like, no.
Right, right. Like, why would you tell her that? So.
And apparently, like $500 in 1992 today would be $1,124.
Mm. So yeah, they had a ball at the mall.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, so they so the word got back to Ty because it's all over the school or whatever, and Ty is pissed. And he's trying to contact her, and Natet goes to the library where Chantel is and was telling her that Ty is looking for you. And she's like, yeah, because you ran your big ass mouth. So they ended up sneaking out of the school and going to Chantel's home. And at Chantel's home, Ty is blowing up her phone, and she's just taking the phone, picking it up, and putting it back down. And she keeps doing that every time that Ty calls. So she's really trying to avoid this man.
Very much.
Yeah. And so one of these days, Chantel's in the bathroom at school, and Tyrone busts through the door and they start having an all-out conversation about this situation. All while somebody is in the stall. So
Very loud.
yeah, they were yelling.
There's a lot of loud conversations in this movie. There's another one where they're in the library and they're like yelling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody's gonna shush these. Like,
not one time. So they're having this conversation, and because he's just pissed. He was just like, you're supposed to put that money on an abortion, you didn't. you blew it at the mall. Like, you need to figure this out. And so she's just like, it's too late. And he was like, you could have been and figured this out. Like, what the hell, you know? So they have this conversation or whatnot. So then he's not fooling with her because he's pissed, which I get. So then, as the movie progresses or whatever, she's getting bigger. So she's finding ways to hide it from her family. And so we see her with the buying bigger pants, but she's buying this exact same pair of pants that are in her original size to try to throw off her bob.
It's very elaborate.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think any of this would work in real life.
No, because like even when I was watching it earlier, I was just like, okay, cool. You buy the jeans in your original size, but when are you washing the jeans that you actually do wear?
Well, it sounds
Then,
like she does the laundry because she was like, just in case my mom, blah, blah, blah,
mm,
blah. But I was
yeah,
like, what about your face though?
yeah, right. Because your face is getting bigger, your nose is getting wider, and your mama's kind of had a couple of pregnancies in her lifetime, so I believe she would be able to pick up on stuff like that.
She knows
But
what it looks like.
right, but the thing is that they're so preoccupied with work and just trying to make ends meet and stuff like that. They're not really focused on their kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that could be very realistic that
Yeah.
she could go pretty long without being clocked, you know. So Michael is watching. Hi, Michael. He says, "Hello,
Hey,
ladies.
Michael.
Just catching the episode. Don't know if y'all talked about Gerard, but does he remind you of Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?" No, he doesn't. Well, who he
No.
reminds me of is Chicago from Poetic Justice.
Mm.
That's who he reminds me of.
No,
um,
he's more hip and cool than Carlton, 100%.
yeah, he is. But yeah, I think because of the dark skin and the box, he reminds me of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So we see her like throwing away food and stuff like that because she's getting bigger and she just wanted it to look like she's eating more.
And here's the
Instead,
thing, you get hungrier when you're pregnant. Just eat the food.
just eat the food.
What?
That's what. Yeah, like you didn't have to throw this away. But
No.
what else? If that's what you think, fine. So, she gets to the point where she is trying to make amends with Ty, and she told him that she wanted to just talk. So she ends up coming back to his house, and they are he's still pissed at her or whatever, and she's trying to make nice, and it ends up working. And so she ends up spending the night with him. In the middle of the night, she goes into labor, and she's 30 weeks. Now, up until this point, outside of the clinic, we don't know of her having any prenatal care at all or
Yeah,
anything.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. Michael says the mom and acid genes in the movie, man, it takes me back to when I was a kid in the 90s and our horrible sense of fashion. We did talk about the fashion.
Yes.
So, yeah. So she goes into premature labor or whatnot, and she is having a time, and it wakes him up, of course, and she was in the bathroom at first, and so he comes into the bathroom, and apparently she done made a mess, and he's like, "What the hell? You know what
Why did
is
you make
that?
all this mess?
Right? What is that? You know?" So he was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna help you back to bed." And so he helped her back to bed. He's telling her, "We need to call 911." She is refusing.
And
refusing.
also, like, just screaming throughout this entire scene. Everybody
Yeah.
is screaming and yelling.
Yes, yes. And she's in so much pain. And she's just like, don't, but she keeps saying, don't call 911, blah, blah, blah. So she has books about pregnancy and birth and all that. And so she's like,
She's like,
go
"What?"
get my book. So he goes and gets the book. He just opens up to a random page and he starts reading stuff. And she's, yelling and screaming. She's yelling and screaming at him. Um, he gets frustrated, throws the book at her, and was like, "Well, you read it."
Throws the book at her while she's in labor.
While
Like,
she's in labor. And so then she was like, "No, you read it." So then she pulls out this number from the lady at the clinic that she met, because this lady took going to her and was just basically like, "You call me if you really need me." So she takes her card out, she calls her. Looks like she was like about to try to make a kid of her own. Or at least her dude was trying to.
right.
But
Yeah.
but that got
I just
interrupted.
think, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that got interrupted, and she's telling her, "Hey, I'm in labor. This is where I'm at, and whatnot." And so she's like, "Okay, well, y'all need to call 911," and she's refusing. And so then the lady's like, "Okay, well, put Ty on the phone." So she introduces herself to Ty and tells Ty what supplies he needs to get around the house, because she's just refusing to get help. So she got the address and she was just like, "Okay, I'm on my way." So when she gets off the phone with them, she calls 911 for them. 911 tells her it's about a 45-minute wait. How? That is insane.
It's
Insane. So
absolutely crazy.
yeah. So the lady was just like, she's telling her guy like, we're gonna need to go over. Or she was like, "I'm gonna need to go over there," and he's like, "Well, you're not going to that neighborhood by yourself. I'm coming with." So they end up going.
Okay.
But while they're getting ready to go, um, Chantel ends up having a baby. When she has the baby, then she turns around and has the afterbirth. And Ty is just flipping out, of course. And so he doesn't know anything about afterbirth, because he was like, "What is that? Is that another baby?
What is this?
What is
Right.
this?" Like,
Another one
so
is coming. I was like, ain't no way she was pregnant with twins and hiding
right,
it.
right. So yeah, it was the afterbirth that she discarded of whatnot. And so then he has the baby or whatnot, and when she gets done with the afterbirth, she's like, "Take that baby and get rid of it." And he's like, "What?" And she doesn't want to look at the baby, and he's trying to get her to look at it. She is
Yeah.
refusing, and she's like, "Don't nobody know I had this baby except for you and the lady, and if you just get rid of the baby, we'll be okay. Just get
Right.
rid
Like,
of it."
we can get rid of it, then we can pretend it never existed.
Right. He is still like, "No," but then he starts doing what she says, and he's just like, "How am I supposed to walk out with this baby?" She grabs a trash bag, throws it at him, and was like, "Put it all in there." So he puts the baby in the afterbirth in the trash bag, and he leaves. And so, excuse me, he found a pile of garbage, and he put the bag with the pile of garbage
Mhm.
and walks away. Then the next thing you know, we see a kid. Um, there's a random kid in the middle of the night playing football, and the football goes over where the trash is. And so the kid goes over to the trash bags and starts looking through the trash bags and finds the baby. Then he found his ball. So then he takes his ball and runs back across the street. Well, apparently he did tell somebody that he saw a baby. So when the lady from the clinic and her beau pull up, They see people, around and see the cops around and whatnot, and they're asking what happened. And so then the cops is like, some kids said they saw a baby in a trash bag, so we're just looking. I don't see anything.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um. So then they wait, I told that backwards. Okay, so they go to the the lady from the clinic goes to where Chantel is at Ty's
Oh,
house.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
they go see her, they get her, then they go to they see they can't get past the street because the cops are in the way.
right, right. And so that's when they find out about the baby in the trash, or that they were looking for the baby in the trash. They already knew that Ty was supposed to discard the baby, so they was thinking maybe it may be that baby, but the baby ain't there no
Mhm.
more. So they're like, okay, because the lady from the clinic is like, if we take her to the hospital, they're going to ask where this baby is. So even if you don't want it, we need to get the baby, because this is going to be a
They're
bigger
gonna ask
problem.
questions.
Call the police.
Right,
Right.
we gotta get our story straight.
Right. So they was like, okay, well, let's go back to Ty's house. So they go back to Ty's house. Ty came back with the baby and was sitting on the bed. And so they come in, they see him sitting on the bed, and by this time, Chantel didn't change her mind. She wants to keep her baby and whatnot. So she comes back. She's relieved that he came back with the baby, and he was just like, "I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't."
Yeah.
And so we get another
I
scene. Hmm.
I do appreciate them showing her like making this decision to throw away the baby while she's not in her right mind, like clearly.
Hmm. Right, right, right. Yeah.
She's not just like some callous person who has no regard for life or whatever.
Mm.
She's just a kid full of fear and panicking and doesn't know what to do. So,
Right, right. And she did change her mind once she calmed down. You
yeah.
know, once she calmed down, she was like, "This shit was not right." Yeah. And I love the fact that he was like, absolutely not,
Yeah.
like he tried to go along with it and was just like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Even though he was the one who was advocating for an abortion as well.
Right,
He's like, I can't do this to this kid.
right. So, um, so yeah, so we have the final scene or whatever, and it's Chantel walking out of a community college. And so she said, she tells, because there's shots without throughout the movie where she's talking directly to the camera.
Yeah.
And so this was another shot where she's talking to the camera, and she basically gives us an update that she's going to community college, and stuff has been rough because she's still living at home with her parents and her two brothers. So it's very tight right now, but they're making it work. Her and Ty are not together no more. She's talking to another dude, and he's talking to another girl, but their main focus is being parents. So they do get along. And
Yeah,
we
I really like how
what?
it showed like her life wasn't just over just
Mm-hmm.
because she had this kid. She's still going to school, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
not on the streets or anything. She's living at home with her family. Even though, that may not be perfect. And it seems like she and Ty have a successful co-parenting relationship.
Right. Right. Yeah. They did kind of put a bow on it at the end,
Mhm.
even though this is a messed up situation, we are making the best of it. So
Yeah.
that ain't always how things go in real life, but that's as good as it can get for a situation that they were in. So
Yeah.
uh
That's definitely one of the better outcomes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do appreciate that, and them letting it be known like this stuff is tough, it's real
Mhm.
tight. It's real tight right now, but we're making the best of it.
Yeah, I like that. It's hard, but it's not impossible.
Right.
It's not going to end your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may not be what you wanted, but you can still progress.
Right, right. You can make the best out of it, you know.
Mhm.
So, with this being your first time seeing this movie, what are your thoughts?
I really liked the movie. Um, I really loved, of course, the fashion that was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even what's his name? Gerard had his little he had his high top fade with like a little design in the back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that. I loved like just how confident and smart the main character is because there's this whole thing with her in history class and basically she's trying to advocate for things that would be more interesting to the students
Mm-hmm.
and what they're currently talking about. And the teacher is like, he doesn't seem to know what to do with that. He just wants to punish her. But later on, we see her teaching the class, like, and he finally gives her the floor to like do something that she wants to
Right,
do. So I
right. He
like that
did
a
have
lot.
like he was hoping she would fall on her face, but she actually prevailed.
Right. I like that a lot. I like again that this having the baby wasn't the end of the story. It also wasn't like some tragic moral tale,
Mm-hmm.
that if you have this baby, you can't do anything else. That's the end of your life. It's over.
Right.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You did not get any of that, honestly, in the 90s. It
Mm-mm.
was very much like if you have a baby, that's the end of your life.
Right.
You're a
Right.
statistic. You can't do
Right.
anything else.
Exactly. That was the propaganda that they were definitely shooting out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not the case at all.
No.
So
So I really appreciate that. I like that a lot.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So um
I like, was it Salt and Pepper seem to be mostly the ones on the soundtrack?
them and it seemed like Moni Love too.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like this movie. Like I said before, like it always stuck out to me, even when I was a kid
Hmm.
and didn't see it, because they just seemed so cool. But they never, with the TV spots and stuff like that, they never told you like what exactly this movie was about. You just saw all the things that we consider now nostalgia. So
Hmm.
it just looks super cool, and I always wanted to watch it. So when I finally did and saw what it actually was about, it was like, yo, this movie's actually saying something, you know.
Hmm.
But
And especially like with a bunch of the movies we had in the 90s that were like focused on black characters, a lot of them were about boys in the hood.
right, right. That's what I'm about to say. It was
Uh,
all mainly about men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you got to set it off.
Yeah. Yeah. So um so yeah, so this was a really good movie that doesn't get as much props as it should.
100%.
Yeah. So but
And it was shot on a budget of $130,000 over 17
mhm.
days, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And it did have a theatrical release.
Mhm.
So
It did have a theatrical release. I don't remember anything about this movie. I never remember hearing about it
yeah.
until I was much older. But yeah, it went to film festivals and it won a special jury prize and
Mhm.
the lead actress was nominated for Best Actress for an award and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I still don't think we have a lot of like coming of age films starring black girls. It just, seems ever so often we get one.
Mhm.
Like Crooklyn, Akilah and the Bee, The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
There's another one by that same author, which escapes me right now, but it's not a super common theme, in my opinion.
Right.
But
It's not. It's not. And it's not like this stuff is not being pitched. It's just, they give the standard excuse
mm,
for black movies.
mm,
And
mm.
especially a female lead black movie, I don't know. This isn't going to sell.
Who's going to watch that?
Right.
Right.
Right. So, but yeah. So let's get to our rating.
Mhm.
So we have our movie rating system, which one movie reel is trash AF, two exists, three entertaining, four great, five a true classic. So Maria, what say you?
I think I give this a 5.
A five.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, that is great to hear.
Yeah. I mean, because for instance, so we were talking before we were recording, I was watching some other videos regarding this film, and there was this video from TMC Turner Classic Movies where
Hmm.
they're interviewing the director of Crooklyn, who is Joy Lee, Spike Lee's sister. And they're talking about this movie, Just Another Girl in IRT, and like how it influenced her and things like that. And even though I had never heard of Just Another Girl in the IRT, I saw Crooklyn when it came out.
Hmm.
So I just think it's been definitely important and impactful on, other directors and women filmmakers and things like that. So it still feels really good and relevant today. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
What would you give it, Lindsay?
I would give it a four.
Hmm.
Um, Only reason why I wouldn't give it a five is because I feel like there's a couple of things that need to be flushed out.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, but as far as like, telling the story and telling a story that is not something that mainstream would want to
Hmm.
see, I feel like that's dope. And then like, the characters were good. This is, I mean, as realistic as you can get, in a movie. So um I just feel like even though he did a great job, the guy that played Tyrone he was just too old looking for me.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
they needed to explain a couple of things
mhm.
that were going on. So but yeah, but other than that, yeah, that's what I would give it.
Okay.
All right. So, Maria, what are we watching next?
Mm, I'm trying to think, trying to decide between two things. Have you ever watched The Room?
No.
You never watched The Room. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do The Room.
Okay.
The Room is a independent film, um, directed, written, and starring Tommy Wiseau.
Is that the
It's an
movie
in
where they were in a room for a really long time? Like the kid was
mm,
in a room with.
no, that's a different movie.
Oh, okay.
That's a very different movie.
Okay.
Um, this one spawned another film called The Disaster Artist, starring James Franco.
Oh, that played Tommy Wiseau. Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna watch the movie, the original movie. Okay.
mhm. Now this movie is extremely hard to find online. Thankfully, I have a copy I can just share with you.
Okay.
I've had for a long, long, long time. But yeah, we'll be watching The Room.
This is.
It's a very infamous movie.
Mhm.
So I'll be making a playlist and stuff like that later. But yes.
Okay. All right. Now this is gonna be hilarious, because I did like a little bit of research when the Disaster Artist came out,
Mhm.
so I know that the room is a shit show.
Very infamous for being so bad it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
So,
even a little 8-bit video game online somewhere you can play based on the movie.
oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
They have screenings of the movie, I wanna say every few months, down here at the Plaza Theater. Kind of like I'm yes, and, I am continuing the legacy of The Room.
Yeah.
Um, but they have midnight showings like they do with, oh gosh, what's the movie with what's the name? The lipstick from the '70s? Anyway, uh,
You talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show?
yes. So,
Uh
like,
huh.
they have midnight showings of Rocky Horror Picture Show. They also have showings of The Room.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And to know is because I made everyone watch it with me one summer. Yeah, a few years ago because people need to know about the room.
Yeah.
Yes, Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's right.
That is funny because I remember that the disaster artist won like this award, and it was I think James Franco won the award, but
Mhm.
Tommy Wiseau went up there and tried to talk, and he was just like, James Franco had to be like, yeah, this ain't your award.
Yeah, he did. He did. He did.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is going to be hilarious. All right. So I am looking forward to that. So, Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online pretty much anywhere. If I'm there, you'll find me at Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. I'm also on another podcast with 5 other Black women where we talk nerdy, geeky tech things called Nerdgasm Noir. So you can find us over there. One of the most recent episodes we recorded is explaining the Drake and Kendrick beef to a senior citizen pastor. So subscribe.
Oh, Lord. Okay. I have to listen to that. That sounds
Where can
hilarious.
they find you, Lindsay?
You can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELLE. And also on my other podcast, The Ish We Talk, where me and my cousin talk about a variety of topics. We filmed earlier today and we talked about Diddy. And while we were talking about Diddy, I just so happened to go on Twitter and saw that he put out an apology.
I
So
saw
we got
that.
our real reaction to that apology.
An
So yeah.
apology 8 years after it happened, only after the video came out. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right.
And while it looks like he's in Bali with Russell Simmons, so,
Okay.
like
He
that's a
probably
whole nother
is.
thing, right?
Listen.
They're about to be neighbors. So yeah.
In more ways than one.
Okay. So yeah, we discussed that. But yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching today. And don't forget to
Yes.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Right.
And join us on episode 55 when we watch The Room.
The Room.
Bye.
Bye.